Thursday with the Vikings winning. In so doing, they sit atop the NFC North. 9-2 is the record. ESPN analytics giving the Vikings a 99% chance to win the North. The Bears, who have dropped 4 straight, they're in last place in the division, yes, but Justin Fields and company are averaging a league high $197 per game on the ground. All right, it's the Fowler Files. I don't have the login. Jeremy Fowler does, though, and he's with us. Architect of, thank you. All right, Bears quarterback Justin Fields dealing with that shoulder injury to his non-throwing shoulder, though. With Chicago, 3 wins on the board this far into the season. How are the Bears approaching that ahead of Sunday?
Yeah, well, Matt, thank you for asking. And so here's the issue.
It never gets old.
They told me to say that.
That's good.
I checked in on this, and it's not a pain tolerance issue, I'm told. Like, he could play through it. He wants to play through it. I'm told it's the matter of risking long-term injury. Can they avoid that? And anytime you talk about long-term injury, usually they rest the player and don't play him on the side of caution. I'm told this is a decision at the highest levels. GM, team president, like, they got to make sure he's good. So because of that, we'll see. But, you know, he's still pushing to play. They got him some reps. He felt pretty good. You know, he wants to get a Bears win. He's been very clear about that, trying to get them there. But Trevor Siemian, the backup, they've gotten him reps just in case.
Yeah, touchdown Trevor Siemian waiting in the wings. And it's a Jets defense that'll get in and make you feel it as well. That is a physical front. It's late December, several injuries to key players around the National Football League, but help is on the way. Why don't we start in Cincinnati? What's the latest on Jamar Chase?
Yeah, so Jamar Chase got the hip issue. Practice this week felt pretty good. I checked in with a source who called this up in the air, that it's trending more toward a game time decision right now. They could work him out this weekend, either today or Sunday on the field. So the goal the whole time was to get him at least ready for this week against Tennessee. He rested 4+ weeks. Everything's on schedule. Just a matter of, do they want to risk it, you know, in a week time, maybe next week for sure. Deebo Samuel got a hamstring issue. Told the 49ers are pretty optimistic based on the way he moved around. He was cutting and running well in practice on a limited basis. He's had a hamstring he's sort of dealt with all year, managed it, got through it, been fine. So for those reasons, they're hopeful, but they're still going to monitor this weekend, see how it goes. Still a little bit up in the air as well. And then you got Chase Young in Washington. They've been waiting for his debut all year, getting really close. Now, I'm told that they could still hold him out, you know, if not this week, then next week. So still no firm determination, but I'd probably say 60-40 he doesn't play right now. We'll see what head coach Ron Rivera decides probably sometime today. But he got a little more contact in practice. Like, they definitely ramped him up. If he plays, you could see a snap count, maybe even like 10 to 12 snaps just to keep him fresh. All
right, yeah, I mean, listen, the Washington defense has been playing better of late. More from this man coming up next hour. Major updates on both Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr. And I often get mistaken for Matt until I stand up. That's Jeremy Fowler. Hosting number 3, Michigan. Wolverines looking for consecutive wins over the Buckeyes for the first time in more than 2 decades. Also at noon on ABC, 8th-ranked Clemson welcoming South Carolina in the Palmetto Bowl. Only thing bigger than the actual Palmetto bug, the Palmetto Bowl. Fun fact, 8th-ranked Tigers not lost a home game in more than 6 years. 40 straight home wins, longest streak since Nebraska from 91 to 97. Now, sticking with ABC, 3:30, we head out west. One of the oldest rivalries in college football. 9th-ranked Oregon visiting 21st-ranked Oregon State. A Ducks win sets up a date with USC in the Pac-12 championship. Also at 3:30, 7th-ranked Alabama hosting Auburn. 2022 Iron Bowl, a win giving Bama its 15th consecutive 10-win season. That would snap a tie with Florida State for the longest streak in major college football history. In the nightcap, 7:30 Eastern ABC, number 6 USC will host 15th-ranked Notre Dame. Trojans have scored at least 40 in 5 straight games. That's good for the second longest streak in program history. And even though he's deep in SEC country, we're going to talk Big Ten football with Roman Harper. It's not a college football Saturday until we check in with the man, the myth, the legend. And the Heisman favorite, C.J. Stroud, comes into this thing opposite a guy who's getting some Heisman buzz here in Blake Corum for Michigan, but he also takes on one of the top defenses out there in the Wolverines. How can defensive coordinator Jesse Minter make Stroud and Ohio State earn every yard today?
Well, thanks, Matt, for having me. So the biggest thing is that they're going to make sure his guys stay disciplined with in their run game, in their gap sound, and also in their eye discipline in man-to-man coverage when you do that. Ohio State, doesn't try and trick you. Both of these teams know exactly what they're going to do. They know when you have a rivalry game, like, you don't have to try to. So they're going to line up and run it when they want to run it, and they're going to throw it when they want to throw it. And the biggest thing is they say, hey, look, my athletes are better than yours. So Ohio State has struggled when they get to 3rd and long. And they have shown to undiscipline themselves by some penalties and also some drop passes in key situations. And anytime Michigan can get them in 3rd and long 6 or 7 times in this game, that's going to go really well for Michigan going forward in this game. I really like this matchup, and I really like them really trying to put some pressure on C.J. Stroud to say, we will not just sit back. We've got to be aggressive all game long and put them in some situations where they're uncomfortable at. And if they do that, they're going to win this game.
A 35-point disparity between what Ohio State puts on the scoreboard and what that Michigan defense allows. So something's got to give. Now, before you go, it's what the nation, it's what the world demands. It's Roman's harping. What are you harping on this morning, Ro?
Well, Matt, look, man, every week I try and sit in front of you guys and I think about it, and I want to be able to talk to the people about the things that are underneath the surface and what we're not talking about in college football. And right now, it's the transfer portal, and it is heating up right now. You have to make this decision the next couple weeks here. And it's already happening on this campus right here. Alabama's already had young men opt into the portal. And the portal will continue to get bigger and bigger as this thing starts to wind down this next couple weeks, where teams are all of a sudden no longer in big bowl games, and now they're trying to find out better situations for themselves personally. And you got to understand, the recruiting cycle has completely changed. You look at it right here, some of these young men on this table, Jackson Dart, Caleb Williams. You get you a good head coach and a really good couple players out the portal, it changes everything for you immediately. Right now, looking at Southern Cal, that is a great example of it, to be able to come in, change it up right now immediately, and these next couple weeks are going to be huge. It's happening right here, right in front of us, and the recruiting changes have everything has changed on the fact of it's no longer about just getting high school players, but it's also about retaining your own players on your own roster, and if you do that, you give yourself such an advantage going forward.
Interesting to see how
Michigan Wolverine, Des Howard on set. The locals loved it. A fan favorite as always. The first time since 2006, Michigan and Ohio State meet as unbeaten as we welcome in the man of the hour here. Des, how are the locals treating you? I think I heard it, but it seems like they gave you a pretty warm welcome this morning.
Yeah, you know, this is my home state, so they have an awkward way of showing me how much they love me here, and I'd like to give it back to them. There's a very, very interesting love-hate relationship, but for me personally, I have nothing but respect for the Buckeyes because, as you may know, I'm undefeated.
Listen, Des, respect is somewhere buried in that layer of this rivalry. The history of it needs no explaining, but year to year, the context does. So give us just a reminder at what's at stake today here.
Well, I tell you what, you have the number 2 Ohio State against number 3 Michigan. Both teams trying to reign supreme in the Big Ten, get a chance to represent the Big Ten East in the Big Ten Championship. But more importantly, man, it's about bragging rights. Don't forget what happened a year ago in Ann Arbor when Michigan beat Ohio State 42-27. Ohio State's coach, Ryan Day, says there's still scars from that game. So we understand what's at stake. It's personal for both teams. I expect a thriller at noon today in the shoe.
I can't wait to get to it, but right now, let's get to your MVP, which is sacrilege to say this time of year, but M is the matchup you're watching, V, the vulnerable team, and the P, the player to keep an eye out. Des, run it.
All right, let's go. So, M, the matchup, it comes on tonight. It's a Pac-12, well, not Pac-12, it's actually a Pac-12 team, USC versus Notre Dame. Now, listen, don't forget, Notre Dame came into this shoe at the beginning of the season, lost the first game, lost the second game against Marshall, but they can upset USC's and, quite frankly, the Pac-12's hopes of getting the team into the college football playoff. Keep an eye out for Caleb Williams. He's a guy right now who's getting a lot of buzz for the Heisman, but Notre Dame, man, they're a resurgent team. This is going to be a huge matchup tonight. The vulnerable team. Last week, that man right there, he was a Heisman favorite on most people's ballots. Hendon Hooker, the quarterback at Tennessee, went down with an ACL against South Carolina today. They're going to play Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's on a 2-game winning streak. They beat Kentucky and Florida, and now they're going to be without their starting quarterback, Hendon Hooker. And, man, on the road, they're a 14-point favorite. Now, the player I want to keep an eye on today is the one all the Ohio State fans are concerned with. Michigan fans, they have a concern, too, because Blake Corum, who was the Heisman frontrunner going into last week's game, hurt his knee against Illinois. They're going to follow this man from the time he brushes teeth to the time he gets on the bus to the time he walks out of that locker room and see if he's in uniform. All eyes will be on Blake Corum, number 2, the running back for Michigan.
Thursday, with the Vikings winning, in so doing, they sit atop the NFC.